What's happening, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk about 2011 UE Kyo. A pretty insane character, guys, especially with the numbers that I'm going to show you guys as far as the damage that he's doing. Now, currently right now, he's only sitting at A3, and I will say, guys, that he looks a lot different compared to the other versions of Kyo, but that's because this is the 2011 version. So Netmarble was trying to base his kit off what he looks like in that, and in that respect, he looks pretty damn cool. He looks pretty awesome. Now, the thing about Kyo, and it's really getting to the point with a lot of these characters, is that, you know, he is a specific color. In this case, he's red, where you have all these other red UE characters. So whether or not you're going to pull for this character really would depend on whether or not you love the character, you're a fan of him, which a lot of people are, or if you already have some of these reds, because any one of these guys is super OP, especially if you have 3 of them already, like myself. You wouldn't even need Kyo at all, but if you do end up getting him and you do have him, you're going to find that he's a pretty nutty character. He does have a wild leadership with increased red element fighter attack by 70%, and something that's really cool about the character is he is a red fighter, right? And he isn't a fusion fighter. Now, that's going to be really important here in a little bit as we talk about his leadership. Works on all red fighters, which is awesome, and he has, you know, some wild numbers. Increased attack by 90% and the critical damage by 350%, the damage immunity when you're 30% below, the same old typical run-of-the-mill stuff, guys. The decreased damage received by 80% when HP is 65% or below. This is awesome for an attack type fighter. This makes him a whole lot tankier because there's no cooldown on this thing. So once he gets below 65%, and I'm sorry, when he gets below 65%, he's going to get damage received, decreased damage received by 80%, which is nice, guys, and that heal is going to help out later on. Now, it gets a little confusing when you look at Kyo's kit, but it's really not that confusing once you start figuring it out. So he gains 1 stack of Sword of Kusanagi, which I'll show you guys in a little bit, upon landing a basic attack, and or using your 3rd skill. So if whether you use your 3rd skill or use your basic attack, you can trigger the Sword of Kusanagi. And Sword of Kusanagi increases basic attack damage coefficient by 500 up to 1,000. Now, I can tell you guys from all the practice I've done so far, basic attacks don't really seem to do much of a difference at all. You're really better off to just stick to his active skills and your rotations. When using active 1 and 2, consumes 1 stack of Sword of Kusanagi to reset the cooldown of active skill used. Increase skill damage by 200% for 2 seconds and gains super armor for 2 seconds. So he's got a built-in super armor in his kit, which is awesome, guys. Helps him from stop getting interrupted. But the thing that you have to understand is that whenever you use your 1 and your 2nd skill, you're only going to get this increased skill damage by 200% for 2 seconds whenever you have just that 1 stack of Sword of Kusanagi, right? So after 2 seconds, this is gone, and that's going to be important for the rotation, okay? Because the 3rd skill actually does set off the Sword of Kusanagi or your basic attacks. So as long as every 2 seconds you're using that 3rd skill, your active 1 and your active 2 skill damage will get that increased skill damage by 200%. So that's very, very important to remember. Increase the active 1 Aragami damage coefficient by 400% up to 200%, and momentum up to 50% per each enemy the active 1 skill lands on. Now, what this tells me right now is that this is going to be pretty potent in the plug-in plant. However, when you read the next part, which increased the active 2 Dokugami damage coefficient by 1,000 and momentum up to 25%, so you have less momentum, you have less damage when the active 2 skill lands on an elite enemy or boss. So whenever you're going against an elite enemy or a boss, you want to use your 2nd skill. It's going to do a lot more damage. Whenever you're going against regular foes and enemies that are not elite, they're not bosses, then you want to use the 1 skill. So they made Kyo really versatile in his kit as far as these 2 different skills. The 1 skill is going to do a lot more damage to your regular mobs, but the 2nd skill is going to do a lot more damage to the boss and elite enemies. And that, again, is important to remember whenever you're playing with Kyo. He also deals burn damage no matter what, to equal to 25% of attack to target every 0.5 seconds for 2 seconds upon landing a strike skill. All 3 of his skills are strike skills, so he's going to be doing burn the entire time that you are landing your skills. He also increased active skill damage and basic attack damage, which is pretty damn nice. And when you look at his actual skills, his UE resets active skill cooldowns upon use and gains 1 stack of Sword of Kusanagi, right? So when you hit the UE skill, you get the Sword of Kusanagi, you'll decrease the active 3 skill cooldown by 40% for 10 seconds upon use, and increase active skill damage by 400% for 10 seconds while in use in auto mode. Now, unlike Terry, guys, whenever we played with Terry, we found out that playing using his UE skill and having an auto mode, he did a lot more damage. But that isn't the case with Keo. He does not do more damage whenever he's in auto. The testing I've done, he does way more damage on manual, okay? So his Phantom UE skill resets active skill cooldowns upon use, gains 2 stacks of Sword of Kusanagi upon use. Really nice, he gets 2 stacks of Sword of Kusanagi when he uses that Phantom UE skill. And then using an active skill within 8 seconds of using the skill does not consume Sword of Kusanagi, but activates the buff as it is consumed, increases the active skill damage by 200% for 10 seconds upon use. So you'll already have the Sword of Kusanagi up, and once you start using your skills, you're still going to get this insane buff. This is really nice. Now, his active 1 skill does give him a heal. Now, this is pretty cool because it is an interrupt skill, but the heal is only 4% of his HP. But if you have the Sword of Kusanagi, you'll actually get a 6% heal, which is nice, guys. It does have a 12-second cooldown on it, though, so do remember that. And then increases active skill 1 damage coefficient, blah, blah, blah. Decrease the remaining active 3 skill cooldown by 15% upon use. And then the second skill is pretty much the same thing with the decrease of active skill 3 down by 15%. And he also increased active skill damage by 500 to 1,000%, and he also applies a stun when landing a skill. This is awesome, guys. 3.5 seconds out of 5 seconds, so every other 1.5 second when you're like awakened, you can keep opponents stunned as long as you're landing this attack. And this is an interrupt skill also, which is nice. You got an interrupt on the 1, you got an interrupt on the 2, and you have an interrupt on the 3. This is so sweet. And the third skill is kind of the moneymaker, especially for PvP and really PvE, because it gives him this hyper armor, but it also decreases enemy defense by 8%, increase target damage by 100%, and it also removes the target's guard, which is awesome. And his PvP exclusive is destroy everything that gives your opponent's survivability. Your hyper armor, super armor, critical hit shield, I mean everything, guys. He pretty much removes everything, and the guard, which is awesome. That is so badass. And decrease the remaining active 1 and 2 skill cooldowns by 70%, 75% upon use. So whenever you hit the third skill, you're going to decrease the cooldowns of the 75% upon use, which means that the second or the first skill is going to decrease cooldowns big time. You're going to be able to use those skills very, very quickly after the third skill. The finisher also resets active skill cooldowns upon use. He gains Sword of Kusanagi stack upon use, increase finisher skill damage by 1,000% up to 2,000%, and momentum by 15% up to 30%. This is a multiplier here, and this is going to be very, very good for the plug-in plan, for the Tower of Illusion, using this finisher. This is going to be very powerful for that. And then, of course, his 3PG, which isn't the one that's actually in the banner. If we take a look at the 3PG that's actually in the banner, take a look at this baby here. All right. This 3PG does increase his strike skill damage by 10. And of course, you'll have always attack, critical damage, and active skill damage up on here. But the one that I have, because I don't have his 3PG yet, I'm still going to be doing some few more pulls, so I don't want to use my card selector just yet. But the 3PG that I'm using is this guy right here that increased attack by 10% and penetration by 400%. Still a really good 3PG to use on him. So this is the one I'm going to go with. And this is what's really awesome about this character. You can actually use the Unstoppable Force type set on him, because this set will increase your attack to UE fighters up to 180%, your critical damage up to 114%, the banner set's 120%, so you gain 6% critical damage with the banner set, but it does work on red fighters, and it also increases critical rate up to 9% when a quantum or fusion fighter lands an active skill. And Keo is a fusion fighter, so he actually benefits from all of these stats. So if you already have this set, I really would recommend pulling for the other set, because it isn't really that much better. If you take a look at that thing and see what its effects are, let me see here. All right, I always do that, don't I? I always click on the last one. Let me click on that one. All right. So this one here, you're still going to have 180% attack. You're going to have critical damage up to 120% instead of 114%. But this set does work on yellow, guys. That other set doesn't. So a set for a yellow is going to be a different situation. But for Keo, not the case. And, of course, the critical rate for Chaos and Fusion fighters, right? So if you're just looking at Keo and you already have that other set, then you might as well run with it and keep it, my friends. As far as the imprint stones on Keo, I just have his regular stones. His first stone increases active skill 1 damage. His second one stone increases active 2 skill damage, which is very good for his kit. And his third stone actually increases active skill damage. So very nice. Now I do have this particular stone here that does increase critical damage up to 60%. And this is a stone that I opted for to go ahead and get him leveled up. We got this completely free to play, which is awesome. And you can actually get the last stone if you do take this character to A5. You can get the rest of the 120 shards to farm his stone in the codex. But I opted to go ahead and use this one. This is actually still a really good stone. It gives his attack by 22%, and it gives strike skill damage by 7%. And for Kyo, that's really, really OP. Now, I'm not going to run with any plugins on them, guys. I always like to do these videos without any plugins on them. And we're going to use these two cards here. Now, they buffed up this one here. It's now increased attack by 55%, which is awesome. Massive card. And then this card gives the 50% attack. So, really, really potent cards for him. His affinity is also all jacked up and leveled up. It's completely maxed out. Remember, whenever you take a character level 10, or yeah, you'll get all the buffs. You'll get that critical damage by 12%. That makes a big difference in the damage. Matter of fact, I did some practice runs before I even leveled up his affinity, and now that I do have his affinity leveled up, this will be the first time that I did a run with his affinity actually leveled up and with that critical damage by 12%. His stone, like his capsules, everything's maxed out other than that. So let's take Okio for a little spin. Let's jump into a little PvP and Absolute War and see what we can do here, okay? Let's set up a little team. We'll throw my man in there. Let's see if I can find old boy. Where's Kyo? There he is. There he is. And I think we'll go ahead and throw in Oswald. There we go. Just to do one little quick clear. There we go. All right. Now let's see who's going to be the first person that's going to enjoy our wrath. Oh, good old Ash. All right, let's do it. So remember, Kyo's third skill removes everything, and it has a lot of range. So I'm actually going to start with that skill just to remove everything. And you can see how the one skill and the second skill reset itself because of the third skill. Very, very cool that they made Kyo this way. And boom. Pretty much it, right? And then, of course, with Oswald, it's just 1-3, and the fight's always over pretty much. Just 1-3 with him. And it's over. So we go 1-3. And boom. Yeah. I mean, yeah. He's a nutty PvP character, man. Oswald is. But Kyo's pretty godly, guys. That third skill is vicious. But because his remove everything's on one skill, you got to be very careful to make sure you land that skill on your opponents. But you see how he murdered that? That was easy for him. And of course, guys, we got to jump in Guild Raid and show what he's capable of. Now, I'm going to do a solo, but I know Snow put out a video of Kyo, a shout out to Snow, doing over 100 trillion, I believe, with a team. But if you guys look here, look at what my boy's done with the level 70 Kyo. Right? That is insane, guys. One key, 347 trillion. That is insane. That there should probably tell you that he's probably the #1 character in the game as far as damage. Now, I'm not going to run a team run, guys. We're just going to do a solo. But we are going to use Kusanagi as a striker. And man, if I had this Kusanagi leveled up, I would do so much more damage. For a couple reasons. One, if he was leveled up, I'd have a whole lot more CP to add to Kyo to do more damage. But Kusanagi also has an insane striker bonus. Increase active teammates' active skill damage by 40%. This is an A1 character. A1. If you take a look at this guy's kit, if you look at his striker ability, right, and you look at what it is when it's all the way maxed out, it'll increase active skill damage by 60%. And for yellow fighters, it's another 20 on top of that, like Psyche. So Psyche would get 80% active skill damage, which isn't the greatest for Psyche because his basic attacks is really where most of his damage is at, but it's still really, really good. This is an insane buff for yellow fighters, but really for any fighter. Increased active skill damage by 60%. So it sucks that my Kusanagi isn't leveled up because my Kyo would do a tremendously amount more damage than what I'm about to show you guys. So let's jump in here, guys, and I'll just show you a little something. So I'll show you what the Sword of Silence is so you guys understand what you're looking for when you play with Kyo. We'll just do a little dip. So remember, basic attacks and your third skill is how you trigger it. So I'm going to go ahead and just kind of guard and just show you what this looks like. All right. And there you see the Sword of Silence right there. That's the Sword of Silence, guys. Just doing a basic attack, right? Just doing a basic attack right there, okay? And if you do the third skill, boom, you get the Sword of Silence also, right? Very, very nice. Now, whenever you're playing with Kyo, as I explained earlier, guys, with his rotation, you want it, because you want to get that increased active skill damage, it's going to, from his core by 200%, it's going to effectively be used every 2 seconds. So you use the third skill to keep resetting your Sword of Silence, so that way you can keep getting that increased active skill damage by 200% to increase his damage. So your rotation is going to be like 3-2 or 3-2-2, 3-2-2-2. Okay, and you can just hold the 2 down or the 1 down, and his skills reset. So we're going to hit the Awaken, we're going to hit the Phantom UE. And what you want to do is you want to hit that second skill, hit the third, and once the third skill is over cooldown, start hitting that second skill again. Okay, just like so. And I found, and I've done a bunch of different runs, my friends. I've tried all kinds of different runs with this character. Auto, manual, different rotations. And this rotation, honestly, worked the best. I was getting more damage doing this consistently this way. And, okay. So hit the second skill, third skill's off cooldown, second skill, third skill's off cooldown, second skill, third skill's off cooldown. I mean, you're really just timing it, guys, to where you hit the third skill immediately. You hit the third skill immediately once it's off cooldown. So it's literally second, third skill, second, third skill. Okay, I think Rugal's gonna probably blow up on us. That's all right. Okay. Okay. And I tried using the 1. I tried throwing in the 1 in there. I tried going just 3-1 like I'm doing 3-2 right now. And I still did way more damage with that second skill because I believe Rugal is considered a boss, right? So I think that's why we're doing more damage, because the second skill is better for bosses. Yeah, he is a boss. He is a boss. So that's why the second skill does so much more damage against Rugal. And like I said before, the first skill is going to be OP for the plug-in plans for certain opponents as long as they're not elite or boss. So that's why here in Guild Raid, the second skill is so OP. Oh man, Rugal going into an iframe. What a peckerhead. What a pecker. But Kyo is nuts, guys. Very, very strong character. Really ridiculous. And a lot of fun and very different from other characters, which is nice. Yeah, go, 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 go. And I do love how the third skill resets. Come on. I kind of messed up there, guys, because I didn't reset that third skill there. So it could have done a little bit more damage. It's a real tricky situation with Kyo, honestly. You really got to time that third skill really, really well to get the most damage out of him. I love his default. That thing is vicious. That thing is vicious. I knew he was going to blow up. I saw that coming. Okay, and I'm just trying to make sure I always hit that third skill, guys, because trust me, you'll lose damage if you don't. Nice, nice, nice. But he's done 1.5 trillion at A3. Right? But you guys saw those scores he did on those teams. Insane, man. Insane. I mean, that's A7, right? I mean, that's a leveled up Kyo, but still, that is crazy. Okay, okay, okay. And let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. There we go, there we go. I mean, 1.7 trillion, guys. Pretty awesome, man. No transcendent cards on them, no plugins on them. And believe me, plugins, they make the world of difference, right? I've proven that before. They make the biggest difference, my friends. So don't think that he's weak. He is insanely strong. You guys saw those numbers, especially on a team. Like, this is just nuts. My boy Usman, shout out to you, my friend. You know, 347 trillion, 217 trillion, right? Just insanity, guys. Like, crazy, crazy scores by this guy. I mean, I think it would be hard to argue that he's not the strongest character in the game. I could be wrong, but that's pretty much what it looks like to me. But let me know what you guys think about good old Keo. And I do stream on Twitch at 9 p.m. GT+7 time. The link is in the description below. And I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. Y'all take care and have a good one. See everybody. Take care.